Hello everyone, welcome back to our Python series. In this, of the previous videos, we learned about variables, data types, type conversion, and how to take input from the user. I hope you have practiced that. Today we are going to learn one of the most useful topics in Python, that is called string functions. Now think about this for a second. Suppose someone enters their name into your program, or maybe they enter their email address or a city name or an entire paragraph. Can we modify that text? Can we convert it into uppercase? Can we count the number of letters? Can we replace one word with another? The answer is yes. Python provides many built-in functions that make working with strings very easy. So by the end of today's lesson, you will know the most commonly used string functions that we will use in almost every Python project. Let's begin this from here. I hope that you are all like to go with VS Code and you have installed all the extensions over there. So to start from the basics, let me enter string over here first, in which I'm putting name plus Adrian, and I'm going to print my name over here. So remember, a string is simply a sequence of characters and rows inside quotation marks. Like A is a character, D is a character, R is a character. So basically, a string is a sequence of characters, right? And a sequence of characters can be anything. It can make sense or it cannot make sense. It's totally based upon the user how he's going to use that set of characters for the string. A string can contain letters. A string can contain numbers or special characters. Like if this is, if I had to write over here my email address like this, so this is totally acceptable, right? And I can add blank space also. So when strings are so common, Python gives us many functions to work with it. And I mean by the meaning of many functions, uh, many useful functions, which you need while you are creating a website. Like if you're creating a login system and if a user enters everything in small case, you won't ask the user now, you only convert it into uppercase and then enter. You have to do the task yourself. So are you going to check every user's input, whether they have entered in small case or uppercase, and you have to change that to uppercase, right? So there is a string function for that, which you can use. And that string function is called upper. So, so once again, suppose you're creating a login system and one user types Adrian in every small case, and another types Adrian in every capital letter, and another types in toggle case, like A is in capital, D is in small, R is in capital, I is in capital, then again A is in small and N is in capital. So think this is a case and this is a case. So what? These three mean the exact same thing, right? These three means a name of the user. So, so should these enter names should be treated differently? No, they all should be treated as one. So if a user's enter like this, you need to convert it into uppercase or lowercase based on your choice, right? Sometimes we need to convert everything into uppercase. So yeah, suppose if name is like this, and I want to convert each and every character to uppercase, I'm going to do it like this. Yeah. So if you want to remember the syntax to convert into uppercase, it's variable dot upper and then parentheses, right? So let's run this. Yeah, so if you can see the output, every character is in uppercase. So it converts every lowercase characters to uppercase characters. If you notice something, the original variable does not change over here. Right? Now, if I'm going to do include this, it's printing the thing which I entered at the beginning, right? So now let's move on to another function that is called robot, which is as same as upper. It's just the opposite to it. And the common example is for email address, we know that every character should be in small letters. But suppose a user enters like this. So what are we going to do? We are going to tell the user that we entered in capital case, or because if you tell the user that way, he would stop using your website. Why he has to do so many work himself, like entering on small, entering on capital. So it's your task to convert it into your desired form, right? And the syntax of lower conversion is variable dot lower includes parentheses. So now let's run this. See my output is each and every character is in small case. And it will notice that each and every website will convert your email address to small case. Even if you've entered everything in small case, it's still the command still runs to convert your entire thing into small, right? But the upper or the lower functions does not work for numbers because numbers don't have a lowercase or a uppercase. It, the numbers will remain the same for these functions, right? Now, our next function is title. Suppose this is a sentence, and you want the output to be like this. So basically, what is happening over here, each word uh, preceding the first character of each word is converted to uppercase. So this is basically called title case. You're converting the character of the first character of each word in uppercase, right? So how do we do this? It all has the same syntax. Label dot title open books parentheses. Why we need this? Because every important word starts with a capital letter, like book titles, right? Uh, Common example is Harry Potter. And If you see the each and every first character of each word is in capital case. If you see, if you look at movie names also, same. This is also a book and this is also a movie, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. They all have the capital letters over here, the first character. And in certificates also, each and every character's first, each and every word's first character is in uppercase. If your name is on a certificate, your name is then nothing written as like this. The title case is used in these cases, right? But sometimes what happens is we don't need the first character of every word to be in capital. We only need the first character of the first word to be in capital. Like in paragraphs, if we write a paragraph like this, or a sentence like this, we generally write it like this. The first word's first character is in capital. So there is a way of also doing this, and its function is called capitalize. Suppose I have a text over here, and I want the text to look like this. So how I'm going to do this? It's very easy. Variable name that is text dot capitalize. Open close parentheses, and the syntax you do this is so it will be generated its output. It would look like see, the P of Python is in capital, plus is in small. So what's the difference between capitalize and title? In capitalize, only the first letter of the first word becomes capital. What do you think if we will use title instead of capitalize, right? Uh, the first letter of each word will become capital. Right? Now, sometimes we need to remove the unnecessary blank spaces, right? You may have written some of your text like this. So we see how many unnecessary blank spaces are here. And being a programmer, you should know how to remove these unnecessary blank spaces. And for that, we have a function called strip. This happens many times when we accidentally press spacebar before typing, right? Sometimes it's genuine, sometimes it's by accident. So suppose if my string is like this, and I want to remove the unnecessary blank spaces from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use strip function, right? Now first let me do this, and then I will use the strip function. So yeah, I've got two outputs. See the difference in the first output when I'm just printing name over here. The spaces in front of it and behind it are getting printed. But after I use the strip function, the spaces in front of it and at the end of it, they got stripped out from the string. And so I've got a my string without any unnecessary blank spaces. So what does this strip function do? It removes spaces from both the beginning and the end of the string, right? Now suppose you have typed a program which you wanted to type, you have typed something else, right? I love Java. Suppose you type this, but your intention was to type this. So this was your intention, but you type this. So how are you going to change that without rubbing your previous sentence? So we have a function for it that is called this, right? Suppose my sentence is, let's take the same example. I love Java, and I'm going to print this. But I want to replace the Java with Python, right? So how I'm going to do that? It's the same syntax. But inside the parentheses of the replace function, you need to write the text you want to replace, the text you actually want. Right? So what's the syntax for it? Variable dot replace old comma new. Right? So now let's run this program. See, first it was I love Java, and after I replace it, it's now coming like this. I love Python. So it replaces one piece of text with another. Now let's check. Suppose if what if the word I want to replace is not in the sentence which I've entered? In this case, right? Yeah. So what's going to happen? So let's run it and check it over here. The string remains the same because it did not find the word old inside this string. So because of that, my original text remained the same because it was not able to find the text old inside the string which I had entered earlier. So you need to practice these cases so that you can become thorough with it. Now suppose you want to find the index of a word uh, in your string. Like somewhere, suppose I've entered I am a word, and you want to know that from which index the word boy is starting. So in Python, indexing is usually done like this. First comes 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, and yeah, 11. Indexing will start from 0. So I is in 0th index, then the space over here is in first index, A is in second position, M is in third position, then this blank space is in fourth position, this A is in fifth position, B is in the space after A is in sixth position, D is in seventh position, O in eighth, Y in ninth, and finally the dot is in 10th position, right? So in Python, indexing starts from 0, or in any other programming language, the indexing always starts from 0, right? So now what I was studying earlier, if I want to know the index of the word boy, that from which index it's starting, there is a function for it that is called find. So if my text is Python programming, and I want to know that from which, if I want to inspect right word, and if I want to find that from which index is the word program starting from, I simply use the find function. Text dot find, and inside the bracket the word we want to find that from which index is starting. Instead of program, I can write here word because I've already stored the word program inside the variable called word. So what's the syntax for it? Variable dot find, and here words index will be top. See, the answer is coming 7 by 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, sorry. P is in 0th position, Y is in first position, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah, so this P is in 7th index. So that's why it's returning 7. Now, instead of this word, I'm going to let it be only P. So that's valid now, and it's showing me 0 because this P, the first P starting from 0. Why not is showing the position of this P? Because Python runs on the logic of first come, first serve. So the P of Python was coming first, so that's why I showed that its first occurrence is in 0th position. Right? Suppose the word that I'm going to find is not not present. So let's find out what it's going to return over here now. It's showing me -1, right? So let me write this down for you over here. -1, the word I want to find is not in the sequence or my enter text, right? So basically, -1, it means that the searched word was not found because it was not present in my entered word. Now, let's see that if in this Python programming word, if I want to number of that is occurring with this whole sentence, so which function I should use? The total number of p's occurring in this sentence are two. One p for Python and one p for programming, right? And the total number of a occurring in the program is one. Total number of p occurring in this program is one, and like so on. Like total number of m occurring in this program is also two. And for that, we have a function called count. Suppose my word is banana, and I want to know the number of occurrence of the word A over here, right? So what's the syntax on it? Label dot count and my desired word type. So now let's run this. See, it's coming 3. Why? Because A is occurring with 2 times. Now suppose if I enter your banana like this, and now let's count it. It's coming 11. Why not 12? Because I've entered one capital A over here, and as you know that Python is case sensitive, that's why it's skipping the capital A over here, right? So basically, why this count is used? To check password checking for character frequency checking or for data analysis. Right. So this count function is important in Python. Now, let's suppose if you want to know that which, which word or which text is the string starting with or the string ends with. So there is a function in Python to do that, right? Starts with. Suppose if my email is student at the rate gmail.com. Let's add quotation marks over here because then only it would come in the category of strings. right? Now let's check the output for it. It's coming true. Let's check if it's actually true. Even dot starts, yeah, the entered word should start with S-T-U-D. Now let's check here. In student, we have S-T-U-D. Wow. So that means it's true. Now remove this S-T-U-D over here. Now it's showing you false. Why? Because the word does not start with S-T-U-D. The word does not start with stud. It's starting with ent@gmail.com. So basically, this is a, we can say that this is a Boolean function. That means it returns true or false. And its syntax is variable dot start with open parentheses, side word, and then close parentheses, right? So why is it used? Like suppose if you're searching for a file and you want to type the keyboard of the starting letters, like suppose STUD. So all the files that are starting with the word student will appear to you. So this is mainly used for checking the file extensions, right? Now, suppose if you want to check that which email address is the person using, so what kind of string function you are going to use. So for that, we have a string function called n7, and this is very similar to starts with. Like suppose if my email address is student at the rate gmail.com, and I'm going to print over here Gmail, right? So now let's run it. It's coming true. What if I type here Hotmail and run it? It will show me false because my email address is in Gmail and my email ends with gmail.com, not hotmail.com, right? So this is ends with is mainly used for checking email domains, right? So this is its primary use and its syntax is variable dot ends with open bracket desired word close bracket, right? And if I put your student, if I run this, it will show me false because this does not end with STUD. This does not end with stud, right? So now let's continue with another string function called split. What if you enter the sentence? and we want each and every character, sorry, each and every word over here separately. So which function are you going to use? We're going to use the split function. As its name suggests, it's going to split every word inside the sentence. Suppose that's a sentence is Python is easy to learn. And I want each and every word separately, right? So I'm going to print variable name dot let. So its syntax is variable dot split. Now let's run this. Each and every word is printed separately. Python is easy to learn. Right. So basically what the split function do is it breaks one string into multiple pieces and want real life examples in which it is used. It's used in reading CSV files, processing names, and word counting. Right. So practice the first 10 string functions correctly. And now I'm going to move to other string functions, which are very important for you to learn and look at it like how it's going to work. So yeah, so now let's move on to the next string function. Now suppose if you are creating a password system, right, and you want every password to have at least 8 characters. How can a Python program can count the number of characters entered by the user, right? So basically, we think there should be a system which counts how many characters should be there. So there should be an independent function for this. Otherwise, you have to run loop, count it, right? And that running loop will take a lot of time. In programming sense, it would take a lot of time. And yeah, so as programmers, we are busy and we want everything to be fast. So now let's learn about this new function that is called length. As its name suggests, it's used to find the length of a string. Suppose my text is 5. How do we find the length of it? Length, and in bracket, the variable name that is text. So what's its syntax? String function, open parenthesis, then the variable. Now let's run it. It's coming 6. Let's count how many letters are there in Python. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. Yeah, so this program is running correctly. So what does length do? Length parenthesis returns the total number of characters in a string. Let's take another example over here. Yeah, so now let's run this again. It's showing 30. So why 13 over here? It should return 12, right? 8 and 6 letters, and Edward is also 6 letters, so 6 and 6 are 12. It's returning 13 because of this blank space, right? A blank space is also treated as a character. If I put here Adrian 1 and Edward 2 over here with a special character, if I run this now, it's showing me 16. Why? Because it's counting white spaces as well as numbers as well as the characters. Now, what if you want to swap the cases of the entered string. Uh, you want the strings which are in lowercase to become capital, and the capital and if the strings if they are in uppercase to become lower. Right. Let's understand this with the help of an example. It's pretty confusing. Swap case, as its name suggests, ulta ko सीधा, सीधा को ulta. So if my text is Python programming, then what will happen if I use swap case over here? See, the theme of Python programming, which was in capital, became small, and everything else became capital. And same with programming, its V became small and everything else became capital. So now let's change this here. One capital, other small, one capital, other small. If we run this, see, the capital became small and the small became capital. So what's the syntax for this is variable dot swap k and open close parentheses. In real life use, if I would give an example, this isn't commonly used in everyday programs, but it's like useful when learning how Python manipulates text. Right now, what if you want to check if the characters entered by the user are actually alphabets? Right? If, suppose you want someone to enter his or her name, and the name does not contain numbers, right? So if someone by mistake enters any numbers to it, you definitely would want to prompt the user that you have entered a number inside your program. So how are you going to do that? For this also Python have a function called isAlpha, and it's a Boolean function. That means it's going to return true or false values, right? Suppose if my name is Python, I'm going to check if it's alphabet, if it contains each and if it does not contain any numbers or special characters. See, the answer is coming true because in Python everything are in alphabets. But suppose if I do like this, over here, if I do like this. Now let's run it. It shows me false. Why? Because my text now contains numbers as well as special characters. And the is alpha returns true only if each and every character is the letter of the alphabet. Yeah. So what's syntax for it? Variable dot is alpha open close parenthesis. And this is a Boolean function, remember. It only returns true and false. Now, if there is a function to check if each and every digit is an alphabet, so basically there would be a function to check that if each and every letter is a number and they are not alphabets. So yeah, so Python even have a function for that, and it's called is digit. Whose number is 2026. And see, these are string functions. So basically, we're going to operate on strings. Don't think that this is a number. And we will enter it right this, and we will use this function on this number. It would not work because this is an integer, and we are running out string functions. So it only works on strings, right? So now check if it's fully digits or not. Let's run it. See, it's coming true because it contains each and every digit over here. Now see, now run. It will show false because I've added alphabets to it. Now add special characters and remove the alphabets over here. It will still show false because I have added special characters over here. So if you think that what's the real life use case of this, I would say that it was useful for validating roll numbers, pins, or phone numbers before processing them. So what's the syntax of this? It's variable dot is digit open close parentheses. Now, but if you will think that if you're checking for a password or anything else, or a house number, a house name usually has numbers to it. Suppose if your house name is Willows Bay 123, it's a legal number for a house. A house name can has numbers to it, right? So the functions is alpha will show false for it, is digit will show false for it, that but you know that it's correct. A house name can contain alphabets as well as numbers. So for that also, Python has a function and it is called is al. Now, that means is alphanumeric. It's abbreviation for it's alphanumeric and it's only checks for letters and numbers only. And this is also a Boolean function. Suppose if my text is Python 123 and if I'm going to check that what would be my output over here? True, because it contains alphabets as well as numbers. Now try adding special characters to it. It will show me false because special characters are not included over here. Now remove the numbers from here. Now let's run it. It will show true because they are all alphabets, right? Now we remove all the alphabets and add only numbers to it. It will show true because it has numbers to it. It shows true or false for both alphabets and numbers. True for alphabets only and true for numbers only. But false if special characters are there or special characters are included with them, right? So basically, special characters as well as spaces. Remember, if I put the space over here and write alphabet, it will show false because special characters and some spaces are not considered alphanumeric. Right. Now, see, now only one thing is remaining to be checked, that is spaces. Right. So Python also have a function called spaces, and that is called is space. Suppose if my text is like this, and I'm going to check if it's purely spaces or not, then I'm going to use this function. Now let's run it. Wait, there is some error in my code. So now it's running properly. Showing me true because each and every character of my text is a space. Now try adding some alphabets over here. Let's check. It will show false because it has detected alphabets in the string. So it will definitely show false over here. So if I want to give an explanation on this, I would say that it returns true only if the string contains spaces, tabs, or otherwise spaced characters, and nothing else. So what should be the syntax for this? Variable dot is space open close brackets. This is the syntax for this function. So after this, we have another function that is very much useful for certificate common use for decorative headings, right? And this is a very easy function and it's called center. Suppose if my text is Python and then I would say print it with text dot center and inside it I would write my here. Wait, then I will explain and I will run it. Do you see how it's Python printed over here? Maybe. Now just look at the difference, right? On the first hand, it's normal printing, and on the second, it's printing with the help of the center function, right? And I have written 20 over here. So what it does, as its name suggests, it will add 10 white spaces before the string and 10 white spaces after the string. So that's its function. Now suppose if instead of white spaces, you want something else. Let's say you want a star. Now run it. See, it has added 10 stars before it and 10 stars after it. Sorry, not 10. Add. What to say? Yeah, it will count 20 plus the length of this text. Then it will divide it by 2. Right. So 20 plus the length of Python becomes 26. So yeah, it's 13. So that's how this works, and that's how it adds the special characters to the starting of the string or at the end of the string. Right. So basically, in simple English language, we can say that center places the string in the middle of a field of a specified length. Now, suppose now there are you don't want the specified things to appear on both sides of the string. You want some would like to have it on the left side, or some would like to want it on the right side only. So we have a function for that also, and it's called adjust. Right. Now suppose if my text is Python, and then I am going to do like this text dot L, just L means left 15 comma, and the pattern I want is a dash, and now I'm going to run it. See, going to print like this. It has moved the string to the left side and added the pattern to the right side. Now, what if you want it on the right side? Just replace the L with R and now run the program. See the difference over here. So these functions basically help you to align text to the left or right by filling the remaining space with the chosen character. Right. Yeah. So now let's move on to the next function. Do you remember how we used the split function? And we split each and every word into separate words, each and every words of a string into separate words. Now let's do the opposite. Now let's join it. So if I have entered string like this, you will learn about these boxes later. For now, just look at it as a learning. As I'm teaching string courses, I would want you to learn these things at the same time so I don't have to come here later. Yeah. So basically, and now I'm going to print result. Yeah. So I haven't given a blank space and I've put dot join and the variable name that is words inside it because I want each and every word to be separated by a blank space. Now let's run it. See, Python is easy and each word is separated by a blank space. Instead of a blank space, I will add a comma over here. Now see, each and every word is separated by a comma. Now instead of a comma, I will give this length of a white space. See, to yourself, the difference is clear and understandable. So basically in simple English language, the join function usually combines multiple strings into a single string using a separator. What separator? comma, space, or dashes, or any separator of your choice. The separator can be a number or an alphabet. Right. Now, let's move on to the next string function. So the next string function is called slicing. I will not say this as a string function, but I would say this as a string method. Like, and this is very important topic in Python. So I would say that this is actually one of the most important topics in Python because slicing is used everywhere, from strings to lists, tuples, and even numpy arrays. Like if you got it nicely, it would be very useful in your future topics, right? So now imagine you are written a very long sentence, right? Sometimes you don't need the entire sentence. Maybe you only need the first five characters. Maybe you only need the last three characters. Or perhaps every alternate character. So can Python do that? Absolutely. That's exactly what string slicing is used for. Let's find out the word slice, right? Suppose you have a pizza and you do always eat the whole pizza. Sometimes you take one slice or one triangle, sometimes two slices, or sometimes the last slice. You are taking only a portion of the pizza. Similarly, string slicing means taking only a portion of the string, right? We are not changing the original string. We are simply extracting the part that we need, right? Now, before learning slicing, we must understand indexing because slicing is completely based on indexes. Now, suppose I have a string, right? Now, so how I'm going to do the index, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Because indexing starts with 0. This is called positive indexing. What about negative indexing, right? So negative indexing starts like this: -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and finally -6, right? So for negative indexing, we don't need to start from 0. You need to start from -1, right? And for most of the videos, we are going to use positive indexing only because it's easier. It's not that confusing, right? So uh, the first indexing is called positive indexing or zero-based indexing because Python starts counting from 0, not 1. Now, suppose I have a string called text, which is Python, and I want to print the character at the 0th index. How I'm going to do that? Simply the variable, open box brackets, and the index you want to print. Suppose you want to print the 0th index. Now run it. What's the output coming? P. Why? Because P is in zeroth index. Now change it. Change the index to 4. Now run it. It's O is coming. Why? Because O is in the fourth index. Now let's do something from negative indexing. Index minus 1. It will print N. Because N over here is in minus 1. Now let's change it to minus 5. It will print Y. Why? Because Y is in minus fifth index. C. So negative indexing always starts from the end, right? Now let's learn about basic slicing. And for that, the, the syntax is the string, open box bracket, the starting index, colon, the stopping index, or the which index you want to stop, right? The start index is included and the stop index is excluded. Right. Now let's understand this with the help of an example. If my text is Python and I want to print from 0 to fourth index, right? So my output, so what should my output be? P by H O or simply P by Px. Let's find out. It's only P by Ph. Why? H is in third index, right? Because as I've told you, and let me write it again for you, the start index is included, whereas the top index is excluded. That's why H, that's why O is not getting printed, right? Because it started at zeroth index, stopped at fourth index, stopped before fourth index. It didn't go to the fourth index, right? Now let's do some other examples, 2 to 5. So before running the program, you guess it yourselves. In the second index we have C, and in the fifth index there is N, but it will not include N. It will stop at O. So see, the output is coming PHO, right? Now by default, your start index starts from 0. If you leave for putting the start index, it would consider 0 by default. See, it's written P by PHO. N is in fifth index and it's excluding N. It's only running till O. So that's why P by PHO is getting printed. If you don't mention the starting index, Python automatically assumes we want to start from the beginning. Similarly, if we don't mention the ending index, Python will automatically assume that we want to print it till the end. So see, in the second index we have P and the rest, the HON is getting printed over here, right? Now, what if we omit both? What if we don't put start index as well as end index? See, the whole string is getting printed. So this creates a complete copy of the string. So now you know how to create a copy of the string, right? Helps create a copy of a string. Now let's we have to a different type of slicing in which we have a syntax as string. Start is there, stop is there, but one more thing gets added, that is step. Now the third value tells Python how many positions to jump. So let's start from a simple example. Text is Python again, and I want to print in box brackets, start index, ending index is 6, so that it would print till index 5, that is n. So it prints the entire string. And the jump position I will put here as 2. Right. Now let's run it. It's printing P4. How? It's starting from zeroth position. In zeroth index ISP. Now it skipped 2 indexes. So 0 skipped, 1 is skipped. It lands at T. Now it prints T. Now it again skips 2 indexes. T is skipped, H is skipped. Now it prints O. After printing O, it skips 2 steps. But after H, we don't have any string. So it only prints till E, E, and O. So what index are getting printed? Zeroth index is getting printed, second index is getting printed, and fourth index is getting printed, right? Now let's do a wonderful program in which we are going to reverse a string using slicing. What do I mean reverse a string? If a string is card, it will become RAC. The string is text, it will become TXT. Right. So how we are going to do that? First, take a string text. Right. Now I want to explain it to you, and you need to listen very carefully. Text, semicolon, semicolon, -1. So as you know that negative indexing starts from last. It starts from n. -1 is in n position. And you know by default, if nothing is given, start value is taken as 0 and end value is not there. The Python basically creates the copy of that string. So the whole string is included by this. Now the step is -1, right? So -1 is starting this one n. So by every -1, the cursor is moving backwards. So from n it moves to O, from O it moves to H, from H it moves to T, and so on. So negative indexing helps you to reverse the string. And as we know by default, if there is no start, no stop, the whole string is included, and -1 is the step, so it moves backward, right? So now let's run this code. See, Python is being printed backwards, right? Now let's do negative slicing. We had a positive slicing. Now let's move to negative slicing over here. Uh, then start position -2 and position -1. So what's going to get printed? If you use your brain, pause the video, stop for 5 minutes and check. Use your paper and copy and see your output. Try to take out the output on your own. Yeah, so it's coming T, H, and O. And look for your reason and look for the reason yourself why it's coming T, H, and O. Try putting different numbers over there. Right. Now let's move on to printing alternate numbers, right? Alternate numbers, sorry. Alternate indexing. Printing uh, letters or characters in alternate spaces. If my string is programming, and so what would be the alternate places over here? P, O, R, M, I, and G. If you're sitting with the pen and paper, you would be able to get that. Now, let's bring the alternate positions for this. See, by default, if no start index is given, it takes 0. No end index is given, it would run for the full word. Now I'm going to give a step that is 2. Why 2? Because it the first index is 0, it will jump 2 steps. So P and R is skipped, it moves to O. Now it again jumps 2 steps. O and G are skipped, now it moves to R. R is printed, now again it jumps 2 steps and it moves to M, and so on. Now let's print this. PORMIG gets printed over here. Now let's change the start index. Change the start index to 5. Now let's run it. See, A, M, and N are only getting printed. Look for the reason yourself with the help of pen and paper. If you are using pen and paper, this would be a very easy job for you, as you can visualize it or you can see this in your copy. Right. So I hope that I was able to explain the whole concept of string functions and slicing over here. Right. So string slicing is one of the most powerful tools in Python, right? We will use it not only with strings, but also later with lists, tuples, and many other data structures, right? If you are practicing like these kinds of program, do it yourself, practice more and more, and don't just directly press the run button to run your program. First, uh, first take out the output yourself on pen and paper, then run and check if your output is correct or